I worked as a seasonal lighthouse keeper back in 2012 on a remote place called Gull Island off the coast of Maine. The lighthouse had been automated for years, but the state hired people to maintain the equipment and make security rounds during storm season. The first few days were quiet, peaceful even, just me, the wind, and the sea. But on the fourth night, I noticed something strange. From the upper lantern room, I could see a small light flickering near the cliffs below. It looked like a lantern, swaying, moving slowly, as if someone was walking along the rocks. No boats had docked. I was alone, or at least I was supposed to be. The next day, I checked the area. Nothing, just jagged rock and seaweed. No footprints, no signs of a camp. That night, the light came back, but this time it was closer. I watched it for nearly an hour. Then, around 2 a.m., the light suddenly extinguished. I remember the exact moment. The tower lights flickered like a brief power surge. And then, I heard footsteps inside the lighthouse. I was frozen. Just the sound of boots on the old metal staircase. Slow, measured. I grabbed the emergency flare gun and crept out of my bunk. But when I checked the stairs, no one was there. The door was locked, still bolted from the inside. I didn't sleep again. I finished my contract early, left 2 weeks ahead of schedule. The weirdest part? When I reported it to the Coast Guard, the guy on the radio said, "That light near the cliffs. You're not the first to see it." My grandfather passed down a strange family heirloom, an old leather-bound journal. It belonged to his father, who was a lighthouse keeper back in the 1930s on a now decommissioned station near the Oregon coast. I never took it seriously until I visited the ruins of that lighthouse during a solo road trip. Just curiosity, really. I found the base of the tower, rusted tools, and even an old cot frame. But what gave me chills was how quiet it was. No buzz, no wind, just fog and silence. That night, I stayed at a nearby motel and decided to finally read the journal. Most entries were mundane, weather logs, equipment notes. But toward the end, the tone changed. One entry stood out. Something watches from the sea. It stands motionless in the mist. Every night, it gets closer. The fog is never empty. The last page had only 3 words, written in shaky ink. It followed me. I couldn't sleep. At 3:14 a.m., my room light turned on by itself. Then I noticed the window. A fog had rolled in unnaturally fast, thick and still. In the middle of it, faint but unmistakable, was a tall silhouette. No movement, just watching. I blinked and it was gone. But the next morning, drawn in the dirt of my windshield, were the same 3 words. It followed me. I don't keep the journal anymore. I burned it. But I swear, on quiet nights, I still see fog where it shouldn't be. Back in 2019, I worked IT for a tech firm contracted to install surveillance upgrades in historical sites, including a functioning lighthouse in Nova Scotia that doubled as a museum. The place was modernized, but the backup generator and some areas were still from the 1800s. I had to stay overnight for system tests. It was just me, a security guard named Glenn, and a checklist. Around midnight, the power suddenly cut out. Total darkness. Glenn radioed. No storms in the forecast. Must be a breaker. We switched to the old generator, which powered minimal lights. That's when we noticed it. One of the security feeds, a camera facing the upper gallery where the original keeper's bed was preserved, was showing movement. A shadow, pacing slowly across the room. But no heat signature, and we were both on the ground floor. We assumed it was a bug or glitch, so I went up to reset the camera. The old stairs creaked under my weight. I reached the gallery, and it was cold, freezing, even though the rest of the building was normal. The bed was messed up, like someone had just gotten out of it. But there were no footprints. Nothing. Then the generator cut again. I was plunged into darkness. I took out my phone light, and in the beam, I saw what looked like someone standing in the corner, still head bowed, wearing what looked like a long oilskin coat. I blinked and it was gone, but my phone screen had glitched. The live camera feed still showed the figure, unmoving, even though I was staring at an empty room. I ran down those stairs without thinking. The next day, we reviewed the feed, and the strangest thing? The camera in that room continued recording movement for 3 hours after I left. Same pacing pattern. Back and forth. Back and forth. The lighthouse still offers overnight tours. I never went back.